Some of the things that Isaiah Ford can do that I'm excited to see if he can translate some of that to the NFL level and what he can bring to this Miami Dolphins offense is really, really, really exciting. When you look at his last two seasons at Virginia Tech, his last season there in 2016, he played all 13 games, so durability is not an issue. He grabbed 79 catches, so the offense went through him, and he's got great hands. When you look at his yards, he went over 1,000 yards. When you look at his touchdowns, they're off the charts. He grabbed 7 touchdowns his last season there, and the year before that, he grabbed 11. So he's a monster in the red zone. And some of the things that I like about his game is he's super hard to bring down in the open field. He caught a lot of quick screens, so that's why you see his catch numbers so high. And he was really, really hard to bring down in the open field. The other thing I really like about him is he always finds a way to get open. On big downs and third downs in college, he really did an excellent job of finding the opening holes and zones. He's a great route runner. He's a savvy route runner. And to quote him, he said getting open is a gift. So he's that kind of a receiver. And another thing I really like about him that I don't think a lot of people recognize when they look at Isaiah Ford is he looks like Tavon Austin. He doesn't look that tall. He's really skinny, but he actually is. He's actually 6'2". He's a big receiver, and that's the reason you see his touchdown numbers they're so high is because he actually is a very, very big receiver. And in the red zone, he is the master at that fade route and that back shoulder fade. He is so good at it, and he's so good at bringing down 50-point balls. And when you need a catch on third down and you need catch in the red zone, I think you can rely on this kid to get you those big plays, and that's when you watch Isaiah Ford, all you see is big plays. And the other thing I really, really, really like about him, higher competition. When he played Clemson last season, when he's played Ohio State, he didn't disappear. He still made big plays. So in big games, he makes big plays, and those are some of the things I really, really like about Isaiah Ford, and I can't wait to see if he can translate some of those things to preseason. And some of the negative things, at least that so far that we've heard from Isaiah Ford, is obviously when you watched Isaiah Ford in college, it really looked like he could stretch the field. And his stature, like I said, he looks like he's Tavon Austin, but he's not. He's a really big receiver. So a lot of scouts and GMs had expectations of him going into the combine, like, oh, this kid, he's 4.5, maybe 4.40 speed, and then he goes in there and he runs a 4.6. So he really disappointed a lot of people in the combine. And I think that was the reason he fell so far in the draft, because everything else about him, I mean, I don't know how you can't like it, especially his red zone production. And then you look at some of the other negative things that we've heard. There was a report from Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald that he wasn't blowing anybody away in OTAs like other receivers were, Rashawn Scott and Drew Morgan. Now, why is that a problem? Because our receiver core is so deep. So it's going to be really hard to make this roster as a receiver when we have people like Leonte Carew, Jakeem Grant, Drew Morgan, who's been making headlines, Rashawn Scott, who's been making headlines. It's going to be an uphill battle for Isaiah Ford. So those are some of the negatives. I'll wait to see what he does in preseason, because like I said, he's a big receiver, and I think that's something that the Dolphins have missed is red zone production. Our red zone production last season was terrible, and I think if he can translate some of his game to the NFL, I think he can really help us in that area. I think obviously what was another thing we really struggled at, third down conversion rate was terrible. That's something Isaiah Ford was extremely productive in, is on third down. And he's got great hands, like I said. He can catch quick screens. He can make you miss in the open field. He's not just a one-trick pony. And he's a great route runner. So I can't wait to see what he does in preseason. Extra 23, let me know who you guys can't wait to see play in preseason, and I will see you guys in the next one. Alright, so let's get through the rigmarole before we get into the Miami Dolphins podcast. Remember, guys, this podcast posts each and every single Wednesday. The first segment of the show, we go through all the Dolphins news you need to know about. The second segment of the show, we go through all the AFC East news you need to know about. And the third and final segment of the show, we go through the Miami Dolphins fan Q&A.